Good day, everyone. Today we will begin our journey into the fascinating world of nuclear chemistry, part 1. So, this branch of chemistry focuses on the changes that occur within the nucleus of an atom, including processes such as radioactive decay, nuclear reactions, and the release of enormous amount of energy. Okay, let's get started and unlock the power within the atom. This infographic, The Anatomy of Instability, provides a clear high-level overview of nuclear chemistry, which we will be discussed in detail one by one in succeeding slides. So the nuclear structure, binding energy and stability, isotopes and the stability, radioactive decay pathways, and fission versus fusion. This slide highlights the legacy of Marie Curie, the first person to win two Nobel Prizes in two different scientific fields. So it illustrates how her work bridges the gap between the behavior of atoms, physics, and discovery of new elements in chemistry. So in physics, she won the 1903 Nobel Prize, awarded for foundational studies on radiation phenomena, and for chemistry, she won the 1911 Nobel Prize, awarded for the elemental discovery of polonium and radium. Okay, since nuclear chemistry focuses on changes in the nucleus of atoms, and one of its most important processes is radioactivity, where unstable nuclei release energy to become stable. So this radioactivity is not just a concept. It was discovered by Marie Curie and explained through her works. And she named this by which materials give off such rays. And these penetrating rays and particles emitted by a radioactive source are called the radiation. And she also built on earlier observation and proved that this radiation comes from the atom itself, not from the chemical reaction. So her research helped the different scientists or other scientists understand that these nuclear processes opened the door to applications like treatment ng cancer and yung sa nuclear energy. For ionizing radiation naman, as the name implies, this radiation interacts with the matter to produce ions. So this means that the radiation is sufficiently energetic to break chemical bonds. So some ionizing radiation is particulate consisting of particles and some of the Okay, so this slide shows the common nuclear particles and their symbolic representations used in the nuclear chemistry. So in nuclear equation, we have a proton, neutron, electron, positron, and the alpha particles. For the proton, yung ating proton, it is written as 1 and 1. So, meron tayong the mass number and yung ating electron or the charge. And also written as its same ang kanyang mass number and also yung kanyang charge. For the neutron naman, meron siyang mass number of 1 pero wala siyang charge. And next is for the electron. It is also called as beta particle, yung ating electron. So, meron tayong negative 1 charge, pero wala siyang mass or halos wala siyang mass. And for the positron, same lang sila. It is also called as beta din, beta particle. Ang difference lang is yung kanyang charge. Sa positron, positive ang kanyang charge. Dun sa ating electron is negative. And lastly, for the alpha particle, it is written as He42. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong mass number of 4 and a charge or an atomic number or an electron of 2. So this means, pagka 4 yung ating mass number, meron tayong 2 neutrons and 2 na electrons. So it's also written as yung kanyang as it is na alpha sign since this is an alpha particle. So 4 and 2, we have 2 neutrons and then the 2 electrons. Okay? Okay, now we have the subatomic matrix Z versus A, wherein Z is the atomic number, A is the mass number. But before discussing the difference between these two, let us define first what is nuclide. So a nuclide, a particular type or a specific version of an atom. And this is only possible because of its mass number, denoted as A, and the atomic number denoted as C. So the mass number counts the total protons plus the neutrons in the nucleus. And this dictates the specific nuclide or the mass variation. For the atomic number naman, it counts only the protons in the nucleus. So, hindi counted ang ating neutrons here and dictates strictly the identity of the element. So, without these two, we cannot fully describe the nuclide. Okay? A nuclide is directly connected to both atomic number and the mass number because it is defined using these two values. So it is written as E, A, and Z, which means its identity depends on Z and A, wherein yung E natin is the element symbol, yung Z, ito yung ating atomic number, which tells us the number of protons, which identifies the elements or the proton, and yung ating A, yung ating mass number, is equal to the protons plus the neutrons in the nucleus. Okay, so these two values, A and Z, allows us to determine the number of neutrons by subtracting the atomic number from the mass number. For example, let's consider the neon here, which has a mass of 20 and an atomic number of 10. So, by subtracting the atomic number, yung Z natin, from the mass number A, which is the 20, ito yung ating Z, the atomic number, and then the mass number, we get or we find the neon has 10 neutrons. Okay, since we have already established a foundation with atomic mass, we can now look at the connection on how isotopes explain why the atomic mass you see on the periodic table is rarely a whole number. Kung kabisado natin yung ating periodic table, mapapansin natin ito na mas marami yung ating elements na may mga points or hindi whole number ang kanyang value. Okay, to define isotope, first, it is a nuclide that belong to the same element but have different number of neutrons. So another confusing definition of isotopes kasi if we look at the other definitions, ang sabi sa isotopes is element with same element but have different atomic masses or mass number. So, same, tama lang ito. And then, what is the difference is that boils us or points us to the cause versus effect of these two. For the cause, an isotope has different number of neutrons. This is what is actually happening inside the nucleus. So, nagkakaroon ng different number of neutrons at the subatomic level. So, the effect niya na yung mass. Because of these neutrons that have different masses or adding nung mass or removing yung kanyang removing yung kanyang neutrons. So, syempre yung neutrons meron mass, of course. So, adding or removing the mass of the neutrons changes the total mass. So, nag-change pagka nag-a-add ng neutrons or nag-less ng neutrons, of course, mag-change yung total mass. So, it also can be the definition of the isotope. So, either of the two can define yung ating isotope. So, another confusing definitions or another confusing terms na ginagamit natin sa isotope is that elements occur naturally with only one nuclide is also called as an isotope. But, ang tawag sa kanila is monotopic. Example natin yung fluorine, meron lang siyang 19 atomic mass, and then for the phosphorus is 31. But still, tinatawag siya as isotope. Why? Because isotope is a label for all the atoms. So, lahat ng atoms, mapamono or mixture of isotopes or whatever, yes, basta atom siya, isotope pa rin. May label pa rin siya na tinatawag na isotope. So, in modern chemistry, we treat isotope as synonym for the specific version of an atom. So, synonym lang siya nung atom na version natin. If an element only has one stable version in nature, that version is still technically an atom of that element. Example nga natin kanina yung fluorine 19 is the only stable isotope. Although, meron siya nakaka-function ng different isotopes, but the only stable is the fluorine. Like, seems true with the fluorine, ang stable lang sa kanya is phosphorus 31. Although nakaka-create sila in the laboratory with different isotopes of phosphorus. Kaya sila monotopic lang. So, we call them isotopes because they belong to the family of possible arrangement for that element. If the other family members like fluorine 18 or phosphorus 32 are unstable and only exist for a short time in the laboratory. So, the difference between stable and existing is that for fluorine and phosphorus actually have many isotopes. Gaya nga ng nabanggit ko kanina lang, but only one of them is stable. Yun nga yung fluorine 19 natin and the phosphorus 31. So, in nature, you only find one mass, which is, they are called the monotopic. But in the laboratory, scientists have created at least 17. So, merong nakikreate na other isotopes. So, biruin mo 17 isotope or different isotopes of fluorine was created in the laboratory. From fluorine 14 to fluorine 31, while in phosphorus, the scientists or yung mga ibang scientists also created 22 other isotopes, the phosphorus 24 to 46. So, most of them disappear in the seconds because they are radioactive. So, we call fluorine 19 and phosphorus 31 an isotope because it is just one of many possible combination of protons and neutrons for these elements. It just happens to be only one that doesn't fall apart. Okay, so elements that exist as mixture or mixtures of isotopes include the carbon and the oxygen, while fluorine and phosphorus are lone wolves in nature. Okay, this mixture exactly why we need the concept of isotope to understand the true mass of an element. The carbon duo natin and the oxygen trio. Okay, class, let's make this simple and easy to understand. First, remember these isotopes are atoms of the same elements that have the same number of protons but different number of neutrons. That's why they have different masses but are still the same element. So now let's look at the examples sa ating screen, sa ating slide. Carbon has two common isotopes. We have the carbon 12 and then the carbon 13. Both have 6 protons. So, both are carbon. The difference is that they are different in neutrons. So, because of this difference, they have slightly difference sa kanilang atomic masses. So, these differences can create yung tinatawag natin na carbon isotopic signature or the carbon signature which scientists use to trace where carbon comes from. So, like in plants, animals, or sa environment pa siya. So, another example natin is the oxygen. Oxygen has three isotopes, yung ating oxygen 16, 18, and then the 17. So, all have 8 protons. So, meron naman silang para-parehong 8 protons. So, they are still oxygen. So, hindi pa rin nawawala or hindi pa rin nagbabago yung kanilang identity even though iba-iba yung kanilang number of neutrons. So, these isotopes are very useful. For example, scientists use them to study climate changes or like yung analyzing yung ice or yung ating water. So, for monoatomic elements naman natin or monoisotopic or the monotopic elements natin, only one stable isotopes. That's nga yung example natin, yung phosphorus and yung fluorine natin. So, since there's only one from them or one form are stable, they don't show variations in isotopes. That's why they are just called monoisotopic or monotopic. Hindi sila tinatawag na oxygen, phosphorus signature or the fluorine signature. Only those have different isotopes like oxygen and then the carbon. Okay, this diagram naman shows the different isotopes of the hydrogen, which is the protium, the deuterium, and the tritium. So, what stays the same? All three are still hydrogen because of its atomic number or yung kanilang electron. Meron lang silang isang electron. So, what changes? This is the important part. The only thing that changes is that the number of neutrons, yung protium natin, ilan yung kanyang neutron is 0 yung neutron niya. Ito yung kanyang atomic mass. So, pagka 1 less 1, so ang ating proton is 0. Ito, we have a mass of 2. So, meron tayong 1 na neutron and then 1 na proton. And then for the tritium, we have 2 neutron and then the 1 electron. So, this is yung ating neutrons for tritium is very radioactive or unstable siya. Kasi mas siya na yung pinaka-heavier among the three. So, the key idea is that the number of protons does not change. Only the neutron count changes, which changes the mass number. So, nag-change yung mass niya kasi nag-change din yung kanyang neutron. So, notice that hydrogen always has one proton. What changes is only the neutron. That's why we get different isotopes like protium, deuterium, and the tritium. Okay, this slide highlights the fundamental difference between the chemical reaction and the nuclear reactions. So, in a chemical reaction, only the outer electrons or yung ating electron shells of an atom are involved. So, the identity of the element, same lang or hindi siya nagbabago. For example, kahit mag-bond yung ating hydrogen dun sa ating oxygen to form water, hindi magbabago yung kanyang pagiging element or yung identity ng element as an oxygen. In contrast, dun sa nuclear reaction, it involves the changes in the nucleus. This includes yung ating proton and then the neutron. Ito yung ating color blue and yellow. Because the nucleus changes, the atom can transform in a completely different element. If the number of proton changes, the substance is no longer the same element. Diba nga, dapat ang number of protons hindi dapat magbago. Like, instance, yung carbon natin, which has an atomic number or proton number of 6, if this becomes 5 or 7, hindi na siya masasabing carbon. Similar to the idea of turning one element into another. So, nuclear reaction often occur when an isotope has an unstable ratio of the protons to neutrons. So, such unstable atoms are called yung ating radioisotopes. To become more stable, kailangan niyang mag-undergo ng changes as yung ating nuclear reaction, releasing the large amount of energy in the process. Okay, so this explains why yung ating unstable atoms or yung ating radioisotopes kailangan niyang mag-undergo ng nuclear reactions. So basically, it's all about becoming more stable. So on the left side, okay, itong left side natin, the complex spiky shape represent itong ating radioisotope or yung ating unstable atom. It has an imbalanced ratio of protons and neutrons, making its nucleus unstable. So itong arrow naman at the middle shows a transition or yung change. So this represents yung ating nuclear reaction happening inside the atom. So on the right side, yung ating smoother or glowing sphere represent yung ating more stable nucleus. So yung ating green o ito yung green energy or yung energy around, it shows na yung ating energy is being released or ito yung ating radiation na nare-release during the process. So take note, the unstable atoms don't like staying unstable. So to fix this, kasi ayaw nilang manatili being unstable, kailangan silang mag-undergo ng nuclear changes in their nucleus. So releasing the energy. So ito na yung ating green part, making it or transforming it into more stable form. Therefore, nagkakaroon tayo or nag-gain tayo ng stability. So, unstable atoms will naturally change their internal structure accompanied by the emission of the energy. So, these changes always release large amount of energy, which is what we detect as radiation. Okay, so this table shows that nuclear reactions operate independently of a chemical environment rules. So first is yung sa factor natin is yung primary factors. In chemical reaction, we have the electron shell. Sa ating nuclear reaction, we have the unstable nuclei or yung ating radioisotopes. Affected by the temperature, yung sa ating chemical reaction, yes. Sa nuclear reaction, it cannot be affected by temperature. For chemical reaction, affected by pressure, yes. For chemical reaction, and then for the nuclear reactions, no. Affected by catalyst, chemical reaction, of course, yes. Sa nuclear reaction, again, it is no. So, influence of compounds, high dictates reactivity sa ating chemical reaction. Sa ating nuclear reaction, none, unaffected by compounds. For reaction pacing, sa chemical reaction can be altered. Sa ating nuclear reaction cannot be sped up, slowed down, or turned off. Okay, this infographics naman explains why some atomic nuclei are stable and other becomes radioactive by showing a tug of war inside the core. So the main idea is that the nucleus or yung atomic core natin is like a battlefield between two opposite forces. So, electrostatic repulsion dito sa ating left side, protons are positively charged. So, of course, they repel each other. So, this force pushes protons away from another. Okay, in large atom with many protons, this repulsion become the strong and can break the nucleus apart. So, stronger or strong nuclear force, yung sa right side naman natin, like a glue, holds the protons and the neutrons or the neutrons together. It works only at a very short distance or inside the nucleus. So this helps stabilize the nucleus by reducing the repulsion between the protons. So when the strong nuclear force is stronger, the nucleus is stable, and when electrostatic repulsion becomes stronger, the nucleus becomes unstable or radioactive. Please take note of this. The nucleus stays stable only when the strong nuclear force can overcome the repulsion between protons. Otherwise, it becomes radioactive and releases. Okay, a nuclear equation is written to conform two rules. First is the sum of the superscript of the mass number A on the left side must be perfectly equal to the right side. So second, the sum of the subscript naman of the atomic number on the left side must be perfectly equal to the right side. Okay, look at the diagram. Yung sa left side natin, ito yung before, yung ating reactant isotope. The reactant this is always a radioisotope. It is an atom that has an unhappy nucleus. So, hindi sila happy. So, gusto nilang maging happy as we discussed earlier. So, this is usually because it has too much energy or a bad ratio of protons to neutrons. So, in nuclear equation, we write it using yung kanyang nuclear symbol. So, look at the right side naman, yung ating emitted particle. We call this as the garbage. Okay? To stop being grumpy, the atom has to get rid of the stuff causing the stress. It shoots out a particle at high speed. So, there are three main types of the garbage. An atom might throw away yung ating alpha particle, yung ating beta particle, and then the gamma particle. So, ito yung ating mga emitted particle or yung garbage natin. Yun yung ating tatlong main types of garbage. Okay, for our product naman, or yung ating the new me, because the atom lost pieces from its core, it is no longer the same as, element. This is most mind-blowing part of the nuclear science. Ito na yung bago, hindi na siya yung dating siya. Siya na yung bagong siya. The new me. After emitted yung mga garbage particle, the alpha, beta, and then the gamma particles. Okay? Unstable atoms utilize specific subatomic particles to achieve equilibrium. So, radioactive decay pathways are not random. So, they are highly specific mathematical corrections to an atom's neutron and proton ratio. So, here, dito sa image na to, this is just like a character select screen for a video game. So, it shows the specific players or particles that an atom can shoot out to fix its internal conflict. So, the atom chooses a specific particle to fix its proton and neutron ratio. So, if the seesaw is unbalanced, the atom picks the right particle to level it out. So, for example, yung ating, dito sa protons natin, we have the mass of 1 and a charge of 1. So, this is the basic building block of an element's identity. Okay? If an atom has too many protons, making it too positive and unstable, it might eject one of these. So, since hydrogen is just one proton, meron lang tayong one proton, they use the same symbol. So, meron lang siyang 1 proton, kaya pwede nating gamitin yung same symbol. So, for neutron naman, we have a mass of 1, pero walang charge. So, there is no charge or neutral. So, neutral ang ating, kaya siya neutron. So, neutrons act like a glue. Okay, siya yung nag-a-act like a glue para dun sa slides natin, parang hindi mag-repel yung same positive na proton. Okay, however, if there are too many neutrons, pagka madami naman yung neutrons, the nucleus becomes top-heavy. So, ejecting a neutrons helps reduce the mass without changing the atom's charge. Okay, for electron, also called as the beta particle, mass of 0, we have the mass of 0 and a charge of negative. So, in the beta decay, during decay, under beta particle, a grumpy neutron inside the nucleus magically turns into proton. So, this will turns into proton and spits out an electron. Okay, so this increases the atomic number by 1, moving the atom 1 space forward in the periodic table. So, in positron naman, ito yung anti-electron. So, we have also the mass of 0, but yung kanyang charge is positive. This is what we call the evil twin of this electron. So, it has the same tiny mass, or halos wala siyang mass kasi 0, but yung kanyang charge is positive. Okay, so this happens when a proton turns into a neutron. Pag yung proton, nag-turn siya or turned into neutron. So, it's used when an atom has too many protons and needs to get rid of the positive charge to feel it balance. Okay? So, for the alpha particle naman, we have the mass of 4 and a charge of positive 2. Okay, this is yung tinatawag nating heavy hitter. This is a chunk of 2 proton and 2 neutrons. So, 4 less 2, we have than 2 neutrons. Okay, atoms use this when they are way too big. Like yung ating uranium. So, masyadong malaki si uranium and kailangan niyang mag-lose a lot of mass very quickly to reach equilibrium. So, it uses the alpha particle. Okay, this focuses on alpha decay, which is called the heavy hitter. The alpha decay sheds the excess mass from critically heavy or heavy atomic nuclei, or it moves the atoms when they get away too big to stay together. So imagine, okay, a person carry yung over or let's say 100 bowling balls at once. So they are going to be vibrating, of course, and unstable. So until they drop a few. So that's exactly what's happening here. So this is too big. So what's happened now is yung nucleus natin. So dito nga, yung top of the left natin. Typically, if Z is greater than 83. Okay, ang objective natin is rapid mass reduction. So, ang gagawin natin is we will use the alpha particle to rapidly reduce yung mass ng ating so big na nucleus. Okay, to save itself from falling apart completely, the nucleus, okay, yung nucleus natin shoots out. Okay, yung dalawa nating or shoots out an alpha particle ito. Okay? So as you can see, meron tayong dalawang blue yung ating protons and dalawang yellow which is the neutrons. So in our character select, yung sa ating previous slide, this is the heavy choice. It's like the atom is cutting off yung leaf. So ito yung pinaka wala siyang choice kundi i-let go niya some of that atoms, yung the rest nung kanyang part para ma-save yung the rest of the body. Ito yung just like kung halimbawa may sakit ka and you need the doctor advise you to remove yung halimbawa yung limb mo or something may puputulin para ma-save yung rest of your body or some part or the rest of the body. And the result is, na-save ka. Okay? The other part of your body, pero hindi na yung buo. As is na, ikaw pa din, pero hindi na yung buong part of the body. Ito na yung magiging product. Ito na yung result. We have the daughter nucleus, which is smaller than dun sa ating dating nucleus. So, we can see the size in the image. It is very different na dun sa dati. Okay? And magiging different element na ito. This is because it lost yung kanyang 2 protons and meron na siya dapat na brand new identity. So, pagka nag-loss siya ng 2 protons, anong mangyayari? Dito sa ating mathematical correction. Okay, mass number decreases by 4, atomic number decreases by 2. So, pag nag-decrease tayo ng 2 ng atomic number, so yung, halimbawa, 84, greater than 83 kasi, sabi, gawin nating 84. So, our element there is polonium. So, pag mag-decrease tayo into 2 atomic number, ano na siya? Okay, decrease, magiging thallium na yung ating bagong identity of the element. So, yun yung ating mathematical correction. Okay, now, if an alpha decay was about an atom being too much fat or too much mass, the beta decay converts the excess neutrons to correct an imbalanced atomic ratio. This is one of the coolest moves in science because it involves subatomic magic trick where the particle actually turns into another. Okay, so look at the graph. Dito sa ating graph at the bottom right, itong gray area natin. If an atom has too many neutrons, pagka maraming neutrons naman, it sits above that band. So, dito sa taas ng ating band. It's like a boat. So, para siyang boat that is lopsided because all the cargo is on the one side lang. Dito sa ating isang side lang. So, the goal is the atom needs to get rid of the neutron and gain a proton naman to balance itself. So, gusto niya mag-gain ng proton para ma-balance itong parang boat na ating feature. Okay, so the magic trick is, since the atom can't just wish for a proton, it performs a transformation inside the nucleus. So, a neutron, yung ating yellow ball, and yung ating, ito yung ating blue ball, yung ating proton, yung ating neutrons will turn suddenly into proton. Pero, ganun-ganun na lang ba? Okay, so wait. Okay, meron tayong law of physics that say that we cannot just change a charge for free. Lahat may bayad, walang libre. Okay, hindi dapat libre lang yung pag-change from neutron into proton. So since yung ating neutron is neutral charge which has zero charge, and yung ating proton is positive 1. So, to keep the math balance, ano yung kailangan natin gawin? The atom must spit out something negative 1 kasi positive 1 yung ating proton. Kailangan natin ng negative 1 to cancel out the no positive charge. So, that something negative is what we call the beta particle. So, meron tayong negative 1 na proton. Okay, which is just high energy electron shot out of the nucleus. So unlike alpha decay, the atom doesn't really get lighter. So it just changes its personality. So yung ating mass number, it remains identical. But why? Okay? Because it lost one neutron but it gained a proton 1 also. Nag-loss siya ng isang proton, pero nag-gain naman siya ng isang neutron. Sorry, baliktad. It lost one neutron, but it gained one proton naman. So, equal. So, balance siya. So, the total number of the heavy bricks is the same. Okay, so the atomic number increases by 1 because there is now an extra proton in the core. The atom moves one space forward dun sa ating periodic table. Of course, nag-increase siya by 1. Mag-forward din yung ating space in the periodic table. For example, yung carbon-14 natin, meron tayong 6 protons at meron tayong 8 neutrons. When it undergoes beta decay, ano ang mangyayari? 1 neutron turns into 1 proton. So now, yung ating proton na 6, nag-increase by 1. Anong mangyayari? Okay, nag-add up into 1 ang ating proton na ito or yung ating atomic number magiging 7. And now, yung neutrons natin, kasi nag-loss siya ng isa, ang magiging 7 na. So, they are the same 7. So, if we check in our periodic table, from carbon 6, mag-move siya ng 1 space. Ang number 7 natin in the periodic table is nitrogen. Okay, you can check it in your periodic table. That is, if it undergoes yung sa beta decay. Okay, if a beta decay naman was atom's way of fixing too many neutrons, dito naman papasok ngayon si positron emission. Converts naman yung excess protons to restore the equilibrium. So, yung positron emission is the exact opposite nung ating electron. So, this is the move an atom makes when it has too many protons. So, think of it as the mirror image of the previous reaction. So, parang mirror image lang kanina. Yung yellow, nag-convert into blue. Now naman, yung blue, it converts or turns into yellow or neutron naman. Okay, so, look at this. Again, look at the graph dun sa ating bottom na naman sa right. So, the isotope sits below the band of stability. It's the bottom heavy with the positive charges. So, protons are all positive. So, they are constantly trying to push each other away. So, the goal is the atom needs to get rid of a proton and gain in a neutron to chill out. Okay, so the transformation of proton to neutron, this is, sorry, aking pointer, nawala pala. Okay, so the transformations from proton to neutron, this is the another subatomic magic trick inside the nucleus. A proton decide it's tired of being positive and turns into negative neutron. So, the yellow ball. So, napagod na siya. Gusto na niya namang maging negative or gusto niya maging neutral. Okay, yung ating yellow ball. So, to make the maths work or yung mathematical correction, the atom has to shed that positive charge. So, it shoots out a positron. So, kailangan niya ng positive. So, kailangan niya ngayon si positron. A positron is actually antimatter. So, it exactly like an electron but with a positive charge. So, when it hits a regular electron outside the atom, they both vanish in a tiny puff of pure energy. So, just like the beta decay, the atom changes its identity but keeps the weight. Okay? So, yung weight naman ang makikip. Okay, mag-change yung kanyang identity, pero yung kanyang weight or yung kanyang mass will be kept. So, you lost one proton but gained one neutron. So, since they both weigh 1, the total mass doesn't change. So, atomic number Z, it decreases by 1. So, yung ating, yung atomic number natin, mag-decrease by 1, but it remains identical. So, because you have one less proton, the atom actually moves one space backward naman. Kung yung electron kanina moves one space forward, ito naman moves one space backward naman. Example, yung magnesium natin, meron tayong 12 protons. It undergoes, when it undergoes proton emissions, a proton turns into neutron. Now, it has only 11 protons. So, if we check your periodic table, yung ating magnesium that has 12 protons. Now, sa periodic table natin, ang makikita na nating element back one space back, it is the sodium. So, remains identical yung ating mass, pero yung ating atomic number will be decrease 1. So, ganito nangyayari pagka mag-a-undergo sila ng somewhat emission like positron, beta, or alpha emissions. Okay? Okay, so lahat ng mga reactions na na-discuss natin dun sa previous slides natin, it is so far happened naturally. Okay, pero iba dito sa ating next na topic, which is fission. It is forced violent reaction that we use to power cities or create massive explosions. So here, fission achieves stability by fracturing massive nuclei into smaller fragments. So when heavily unstable nuclei are bombarded by neutrons, they undergo catastrophic splitting. This forces the nucleus into smaller, far more stable fragments and initiate chain reaction. So here, from big one, nagkaroon tayo ng fission or yung nagkaroon tayo ng fracturing ng ating nuclear. Ang nangyari, nagkaroon tayo ng different or smaller nucleus. Okay, para magkaroon tayo ng more stable fragments. So, if yung ating alpha decay is like an atom dropping a suitcase, fission is like the atom getting hit by a truck and shattering into pieces. So for our neutron bombardment, imagine yung ating nucleus that is already stressed out, like yung ating uranium-235, it is barely holding together. Scientists fire a single slow-moving neutron or neutron at it. So the neutron does not just hit the nucleus, it gets absorbed. So this extra particle makes the nucleus unstable. It can no longer hold its shapes. So nagkakaroon na tayo ng critical deformation. So the nucleus, it starts to stretch and wobble like a water balloon. So it reaches a point where yung strong force natin, yung glue dun sa ating dun sa previous discussion, can reach across the middle anymore or middle anymore. It becomes a peanut shape. So nagkaroon siya, ito yung kanyang peanut shape. So ito yung tinatawag na critical deformation. Okay, for the catastrophic cleavage naman, yung nucleus snaps natin, it splits into two smaller medium, okay, from two smaller medium, often called as yung fission fragments. Because these smaller atoms are more balanced, they are much more stable than yung giant. So, mas balanced to, kaya mas stable siya kaysa dito sa dating itsura niya, yung pagiging malaki or giant niya. So, nagkaroon na tayo ng energy release, and then after energy release, nagkaroon na tayo ng chain propagation. This is the boom, or this is called the boom, or this is the boom. A massive amount of heat and light is released because some of the mass was converted into energy. This is computed dun sa ating Einstein na yung E is equals to mc squared. And when the nucleus shatter, it also spits out mga 2 or 3 extra neutrons. They fly off and hit others. So, nearby atoms causing them to explode too. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng chain reaction. Okay, if fission was about breaking things apart, fusion is the exact opposite of this fission. So, fusion overcomes extreme repulsion to forge light nuclei into a stable heavy elements. So, light nuclei are forced together under immense temperature and pressure. So, the resulting heavy nucleus bows into incredible stability, yielding exponentially more energy than fission. Okay, so this is the ultimate power source in the universe. It is the reaction that happens in the sun or in the center of the suns and all other stars. So, extreme repulsion, let's think back yung ating protons which are positive. If you try to push them together, anong mangyayari? They act the same ends of the two magnets, so they repel each other. So, this is called yung ating electrostatic barrier. So, to get atoms to be fused, you have to overcome. So, paano natin i-overcome yung ating extreme repulsion? First, we need an extreme temperature and extreme pressure. So, for the extreme temperature, it makes yung atoms to move so fast that they don't have time to bounce away. For yung sa ating extreme pressure naman, squeezing them so tightly, they have no choice but to touch each other. So, breaking this barrier, when the pressure and the high temperature or yung enough heat, the atoms will break this barrier. So, once they get close enough, yung strong nuclear force or yung glue takes over and laps them together into one single larger nucleus. Okay, so think of this final image as the grand motivation for everything we've discussed uh, for this topic. So it explains the why behind every single nuclear reaction in the universe. So in the world of atoms, the iron 56 here is the king of the mountain. So every other atom is just trying to get to where the iron is. Either dun sa left or dun sa right sila manggagaling. So first is we have the Hill stability where ito yung ating binding energy. Ito yung ultimate stability natin. So here the graph shows the binding energy per nucleon. Okay, this is the binding energy per nucleon. And think of it that yung ating binding energy here is the glue or the glue strength. It's how tightly the nucleus is held together. Okay, the higher you are on the graph, the more you are stable and peaceful the atom is. Like ngayong ating iron 56 na nasa ultimate stability. It has the perfect balance, not too big, not too small, and it is the strongest glue. For the two paths, we have yung paths ng fusion and the paths of fission, or we call this as path A, and then this is the path B. So if you climb up dun sa ating left path or yung sa ating path A, dapat ikaw ay you should be a very light. Okay? Like a hydrogen. So you are at the bottom left of the hill. So to climb up, you have to join together with other light atoms. So, dito yung ating mga small atoms. So small atoms should fuse to become larger and more stable atoms. This is why yung ating stars shine. They are literally building yung way up dun sa kanilang kill. Okay? May pa-star pa. Okay, for our path B naman, these are smaller joining together to form a big nucleus. Okay, sa fission naman, from big, okay, or from a massive heavy atom like yung uranium natin, you are at the bottom, of course, dito. You are to climb the hill. So, you have to lose, they should lose yung kanilang yung heavy atom by splitting into smaller ones. Yun yung ating tinatawag na fission or smaller or medium size fragments. So, these smaller adjustments or yung ating yung decay na tinatawag, ito yung ating mga small arrows. Okay, these are the baby steps. If an atom is not ready for a massive split or yung giant merge natin, it uses the characters we talk about dun sa ating protons, electrons, and positrons to make a small mathematical correction to its ratio every decay that moves that yung atom natin just a little bit closer dun sa ating peak of the hill. So, to pursue yung structural piece na hinahanap natin, yung iron 56, we need the maximum binding energy. So, everything in the nuclear universe, from yung radiation in a smoke detector or to the power of the nuclear reactor to the heat of the sun, it's just the atoms trying to reach yung state ng iron natin. So, once an atom reaches that peak, it doesn't want to change anymore. Okay, sino ba naman, pagka nandun ka na sa stability, bakit gusto mo pa siyang bumaba? Ayaw mo na syempreng bumagsak. Okay, to sum up, yung sa ating chemical reactions, it is just like a swapping clothes. Ito yung sa electrons natin. For the nuclear reactions naman natin, ito yung changing who you are. Ito yung ating sa nucleus. And for our alpha, beta, and the positron, ito yung ating tools to fix yung ating minor imbalances. For the fission and fusion, ito yung major structural overhauls natin. And the goal is always the same, to reach the top of the hill or yung ating ultimate stability. Okay? That's all for this topic, and good day everyone.